Thank you very much for clicking on us. Alongside Breland Moore, I'm Rich Donnelly. Bills undefeated, Panthers undefeated. Sean McDermott's going back to where he was the defensive coordinator for 6 years. But really the question is it possible that the Bills can be too amped and too excited that all of their enthusiasm is a negative against Carolina?
Yes, I think it is possible in a general sense of the word for a team to be too excited and too overhyped, so to speak, and really want to take home a win for their coach, especially in an emotional game like this. I think definitely in a general sense, that could 100% become more of an issue than a motivating factor.
Because they were also riding a pretty emotional game in week 1.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the Jets, but it was his first game.
Right. So, but I think in this case, I think, as you know, that McDermott seems to be at least on the outside a pretty level-headed guy and just a pretty kind of straightforward, just staying focused, respecting the process over and over and over. That's all we hear is about the process, the process, the process. So, even today he was kind of skirting around the issue of being back in Carolina. He said, "Yep, I have an advantage. Yep, trust in the process." Like,
now,
you know what I mean? It wasn't any sort of
overcompensating for this. Almost, do you think? Is he purposely not saying it's a big deal because it is such a big deal that he's going back?
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
I think he's so process-oriented. This is just week 2 as opposed to where he was a coordinator for 6 years.
Right. And honestly, I think from a human aspect, and he did address this, and so did Mike Tolbert, who's also obviously traveling from Buffalo to his former team at Carolina.
Much love to the Toldozer, by the way.
Yes. But both of them, had recognized the human aspect of, I did get to play there, or I coached there. We had some good times. It's going to be a little interesting to see the people that you've just left. But at the end of the day, you have a job to do. And I mean, I came from a market in Pennsylvania, the Lehigh Valley. So when I cover a game, Rochester Red Wings versus Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, there's a little bit of like, oh yeah, like it's cool to see these people again. It's cool to see this thing.
The difference is, yes, while bacon is delicious, garbage plates are just better. So
okay, we're not getting into this. But the point is,
you can put bacon in a garbage plate. You can't put a garbage plate inside bacon.
There you go,
I'm
Rich.
going to go with this one though. When it comes to this, I think being too amped up could be hugely detrimental. Look at all the penalties that team got in the preseason.
I don't think that they're going to be, though, because like I said, that analogy of me covering, I still have a job to do. I still have to go back and do a job, no matter what, no matter how familiar they are with the team, no matter how many friends they've made, no matter, like this stand in the concourse is good.
It's the other way.
They have a job to do.
It's not so much the friend, it's proving I was better than my previous position. You look at Mike Tolbert, who got a contract here. Sean McDermott got a better job here, proving I am better than where I left. I think that's the thing that the Bills have to avoid in this game, because they're going up against a former MVP in Cam Newton. So they do have enough to focus on, but being amped up, it's the first road game for Sean McDermott. How he handles that. The last time they were on the road, they sent Marcel Darius back home.
Well, that's a whole other topic for a whole other day.
But I do think,
Marcel Darius is a topic in itself.
Now, he probably is the perfect coach for this situation because he respects the process.
Right.
But if the players are trying too hard for him and trying to make too much of a statement, especially if they happen to be winning like late in the second half when this game could be within their grasp, then watch out for a personal foul penalty, like a late hit, something like that to just go over the top. You don't need like a player getting a 15-yard penalty because he's trying to prove we are better than you because we have the guy that was with you.
And I have a hard time thinking that would happen under head coach Sean McDermott. Under some former coaches that we've seen, would emotions take over and could you kind of spiral out of control? Maybe. But I think he's just that kind of straightforward, very disciplined kind of guy that his attitude will set kind of the standard for everybody else. And, Tolbert said that as well, that he's kind of following Sean McDermott's lead on this and that they're there to play football and they're there to do a job and do it well. And Tyrod Taylor and LaShawn McCoy had both said today that, it's great to have somebody who knows the system and it's really great to have a couple guys who are familiar with Carolina, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean they don't have to study any harder. It doesn't mean they get to slack off this week. They're still hitting those playbooks, they're still doing the reps and doing what they need to do in order to go down there and get the job done. I think maybe if this was week 12 and they'd already
And
had
the
it
Bills are
kind
already
of
11-0. 10-0, they have a bye week.
11-0, sure, 10-0, but
it's a bye week
you
in
know, but if it was week 12,
Sure.
it might be a little bit of a different story. They could let the emotions ride in because, especially if they have a record like, 10-0 or whatever you want to
Maybe
say,
9-1.
or a winning record.
Sure.
And they can let that emotion seep in, but it's too early in the season for them to even kind of lose control of that. So I don't know. I have a hard time believing that Sean McDermott is going to let them just kind of ride out and prove themselves, so to speak, a little too much.
Well, we'll see what happens. Sunday, 1 o'clock is when they kick off. And we leave you with this parting shot. Buffalo wings are better without Carolina gold sauce. Just putting it out there. Thanks for watching.